Hello and welcome. This is a summer stream in the sense of that it's gonna be maybe for a week or two the last one, but I don't want to demystify any agile things right now because it would have to do with work, but I am not going to talk about work today or anything related. So let's go for another reading on a newspaper. And as always, we're going for the so-called Southgerman or Süddeutsche Zeitung, and this time we have as a first entity the end of the democracy in the United States. And this is because the highest court there, the Supreme Court, what did they say? So first of all, it has to do something with democracy. Apparently, they're somehow stopping it, and I have to read now towards the very end of this article to figure out what they were actually saying, because it somehow keeps me longer on the web page. I'm paying for this fucking thing. I want to read this stuff straight away, not just artificially. Okay, so apparently in the last seating of the Supreme Court, they said they're taking up the Moore versus Harper case, and in this one it goes around, or it is concerned with how much liberty each of the states have to organize elections themselves. And apparently in North Carolina, the Republicans plan to change their, don't know how you translate that, but somehow the fences in which, or the borders in which the elections are running, they want to change them in a way so they're getting benefits out of it. And there's a bit of a problem apparently, because the Republicans right now are controlling more states than the Democrats, and thus if they are changing, let's say, their states in a way that is for their advantage, then it's going to be a problem in the long run. Not just right now or for the next election, but for elections per se. And apparently in North Carolina, there's something like a small Supreme Court which said these rules aren't allowed, or these changes aren't allowed. Okay, so apparently now they are taking this case up in front of the Supreme Court. Oh, God. Okay, so if you know a little bit about the election system in the US, then you could know that basically it's not that the person votes for Trump and then he gets the vote, but it is if the majority of people within a certain area, within a state, vote for Trump, or at the end of the day, somehow the majority of a state vote for Trump, then I think the way it goes is that you actually have, within a state, you have much smaller cells in which people are voting, and one cell equals one of these election people. I think I need a lot of vocabulary in English actually for this page. And Do they actually offer a translation? They do, sometimes. Not for this one. And those people, those election people, if they're sort of harvesting the majority of the votes for each of their, so for each of the areas, let's say you have 100 people in a state and you have 10 cells, so each is 10, and in all the 10 cells, 6 out of 10 people are voting for Trump, then 100% of this state would count towards Trump, whilst in reality only 60% voted for him. And of course, you can now try to sort of change the rules in the game so that even if you have just a minority people within a state, that you would get more votes. But what makes it even more complicated is that each state doesn't have a similar amount of votes, but some have more and some have less at the end, which then count into the overall scheme. So that makes it quite complex, and I think from a German perspective, it doesn't make too much sense, because in Germany we mostly have, I would say, as the biggest influence, really the percentage of people voting for a certain political party, and that's it. And we're never voting for a president, we always vote for parties. Yeah, so less democracy would maybe be the right term, because right now I think the US isn't a proper democracy. If the majority of individual people are voting for or against the president, then the majority should win, and not the minority, regardless of what system you're putting, let's say, above it. I don't think it is making it any better, and I don't care about the reasons why that is historically the case. It is simply stupid today. And we have stupid stuff in Germany as well, so I'm not just saying everything's bad or good here, but it's just this particular thing has already been bad. So okay, so that makes it a little bit even more unfair for people. Great. What else is happening? Oh. Okay. So we have a gas supplier or an energy supplier in Germany, and he is mostly dependent on gas, and he has big issues. He's about losing 1 million euro apparently per month, because as they're buying the gas really expensively on the spot market right now, or simply on the market, doesn't matter which market it is, but they purchase gas for really high prices, and their contracts with the end customer don't allow them to transport these high prices into the households. So the households are paying less than they would actually need to pay in order to cover for these high gas prices at the moment. And this is why this company is making 1 billion euro loss per month. And yeah, I mean, in Germany, there is the obligation of a company to deliver energy supply to the customers. So there's no way this company could, for instance, stop just delivering the gas or something like this, and that leaves them only the chance to continue with this. And what they are trying to is they try to put the part of Uniper, which is this energy company, underneath the German government, and say this is a officially state-owned company for the time being. Maybe not a great idea in my eyes. Oh, but I don't want to think about it too much. It's a complicated matter at the end of the day. And I think the best thing we can do right now in Germany is actually saving gas. And there was an article recently which said that 70% of the energy you're using or consuming in a household is 70% is for heating, which means 15% is for warm water and 15% is my computer running. Yeah, the lights, electricity. In Germany, we are mostly heating with gas and oil and very little with electricity. So by saving gas in our households or saving on the heating, we can have the biggest leverage effect on gas utilization. But at the same time, we can see that the high gas prices on the German market have led to quite a few people, individuals, but also companies, thinking about how to deal with that situation and what do they come up with. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit surprising that we have a climate catastrophe on our doorstep and that we are not doing a lot of things against them, or let's say we do, but we could do much more. And suddenly, as soon as the prices skyrocket, we start to really think about there's the big company here in Germany who is renting to thousands and hundred thousands of people flats, and they want to default reduce the heating to 17 degrees during the night for those flats going forward in these apartments. And then, as I said, 70% is down to heating, so there is the biggest potential on saving energy and in particular gas. But energy in total makes sense. Yeah, so that's happening now since the prices are high. So this is why I'm struggling a bit with the idea of that Uniperm is losing so much money. High prices also mean that people start thinking, and if the prices are artificially low right now, we are not saving as much as we potentially should in order to ensure a certain amount of gas being available to us during the winter season. Okay, anyway, here we go. That's happening as we speak. Let's see what the result is. I mean, the last time I was looking through this newspaper, we came across Boris Johnson, and as I said, they can write as much as they like within the newspaper, but he's not going to leave because of these guys. So what made he has to leave in the first place? No one will sort of leave him. Yeah, sort of don't know what you have to do in order to think this trust thing that recently where they said how much do you trust Boris Johnson, or the majority unfortunately still said we trust him. There would have been a way to get him out of his position. Now a lot of people have retreated. I don't know, 50, 60 people from his party did retreat, and that made him change his opinion, and now he's eventually leaving. Okay, here we go. What else do we have? That the euro is deeper than ever in the comparison to the dollar. Yeah, so euro has been historically quite strong. Now euro and dollar apparently is almost the same. And the reason seems to be, I would guess, interest rates and inflation. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. That's happening right now. Interestingly, Mr. Elon Musk is trying not to buy Twitter any longer. I don't know. Who the fuck cares what Twitter is doing? Someone should delete it, maybe then we have a bit more room in newspapers for proper news. No, not interesting. No. Here was one thing which I find a bit interesting. So there is apparently someone who was in court in Munich because he said to policemen that he should be shot down like his colleague in Kusel. And he is now going for 1 year in jail. And maybe if he's sort of behaving well, he's maybe able to leave soon, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. And I think these kinds of reactions towards, they call it hate speech. I don't think it's hate speech, it is being an asshole. But maybe hate speech. What's the... How do they say that? So apparently this guy has been doing this quite a lot already in the past, and I think it's good to make it public. If people are doing hate speech, that they're being processed, even if it's just a fine of €50 or something, but it is more obvious that you can go to a certain... See, for instance, in Germany, if you're showing the finger to someone and then this guy goes to leasing and can evidently show that you've been doing this, you have to pay quite a lot of money. I think it's €1,000 or something like this. And I don't know, is that fair? I think it depends. But there was a person who did insult our someone from the Green Party, a politician. It's a she, and what apparently men often do when they insult females, they are going under the belt, and then it becomes some form of verbal sexual harassment and abuse, and that went into court in Germany. And in the first instance, I'm not sure if that translates right, but we have, as well as with the Supreme Court, we have different levels of courts. Let's look it up. Why don't we just look it up? So, levels of jurisdiction. Okay, so the first level did say it's free speech, and a politician has to accept that there is a certain amount of public criticism, and that this criticism can sort of be expressed in also very harsh words, but it's still criticism which is covered then by free speech. So words like cunt, for instance, yeah. And I think and you know, I think it's really the combination. If someone just drops one word, doesn't matter whether it's fucker or cunt or whatever, or just shows finger. I think it is. These things happen in a split second potentially. Yeah? You're for a split second uncontrolled, and then this word leaves your mouth, or this finger leaves your hand. So this stuff can be really quick. These things which we are often discussing, for instance, also in this particular case, but also for the Green Party, he did it in writing. So there is a long moment between thinking about what you like to write, writing it down, clicking the send button. That is not any longer done on a spontaneous way. It's not any longer an accident, so to speak. Yeah. To be honest, if I think something like this, or I do something like this, in hindsight, 5-6 seconds later, I won't do it any longer because it really never helps. But when you're writing, and you're writing maybe more than just one thing, and you're writing multiples of them, and blah blah blah, and it becomes a proper harassment. It is really coming to this era of hate speech, and it starts to hurt people really bad. And finding this line between insult, free speech, unacceptable insult which brings you into jail, and things like this. So finding these lines, defining them, is something which is, I think, really hard. It's not easy. I use a lot of swear words in my. I love swear words, and at the same time, I can't use them, of course, against other people necessarily. So I remember the way I'm doing this. I'm usually recording things somehow. People, maybe groups of people. But anyway, whatever I'm doing, I don't try to insult or harm other people. And hate speech does this. Hate speech is causing damage on the other side. Yeah, there is not just someone saying something, but him saying it has a very negative impact to the other person. Let's say well-being, mental well-being. And finding the right line until which it is basically okay, and also maybe is everyday's life of human interaction. And when it goes too much, and it is basically causing this harm, this is something we can influence, or journalists can influence, by reporting on those events and say, in this particular case, even the last court, yes, the highest level of jurisdiction, did say this is okay, and this is not okay. And then we can learn as a society what is okay, what isn't, and also get a bit of the reasoning behind it. Yeah. So I think this is useful. Where did it come? Very late in the news, very much at the bottom. Our top news is still to state that let's say not so democratic country. I mean, democratic country, really? The US? So let's have a look. Election system, USA. Let's take Wikipedia. I mean, if you go on this thing, it starts who is allowed to vote. Yes, this is the first big problem, that not everybody is allowed to vote, and that voter registration is sometimes really complex. So I think this is. Then apparently there is a different voting system in different states, so that makes it really hard, but apparently the one which is used the most of the states is the first past the post, which basically means you can vote for one option. So if you have 5 people, then you can just vote for one of them. And then you have these presidential elections, and of course you're voting democratically to a certain degree, maybe for the president of the United States. I would say it is half democratic. But what this person later on does is more or less up to him. Yeah, of course he has the two parties and the House of Representatives and whatever. So he has instances which are usually figuring out jointly based on how the votes were, basically, how to make decisions, what new laws to put in place, how to change the system, etc. So this is already quite democratic. Problem is the United States president has a few options how you can circumvent these things, and I think this is as such not democratic. If you have a single person can do whatever, more or less whatever he likes, or can do in certain areas whatever he likes, and then it's not really great. That's what I was talking about earlier. The Electoral College. Most state laws establish a winner-take-all system wherein the ticket that wins a plurality of votes wins all of the state's allocated electoral votes and thus has their slate of electors chosen to vote in the Electoral College. Maine and Nebraska do not use this method, giving 2 electoral votes to the statewide winner and 1 electoral vote to the winner of each congressional district instead. And then you have basically per state, you have and then they basically get a certain amount of electoral votes per country or per state. And then it's really boring. Anyway, I think you have the starting point, a not so democratic way of choosing who's allowed to vote. Then you have a sort of not so democratic way of choosing who's how you count votes per state, and then this winner takes it all system is simply nonsense in my eyes. And then you're aggregating the stuff up, and then you come up with a certain number. And that can mean that in reality, let's take a small Google search on how many people voted for Trump. Let's say Hillary Clinton. So in the 2016 United States presidential election, Hillary Clinton lost against Mr. Trump. And this is what I'm saying. So on election day, Trump overperformed his polls, winning several key swing states while losing the popular vote by 2.87 million. So he had 62.9 people so let's say 63 million people roughly voted for him, and 65, almost 66, voted for Madame Clinton. And I think this is the thing. If you're getting, I mean, to be honest, 2% is not much. I think it is not a good. You should almost force both people into the position of United President, and they have to figure it out amongst the two of them whenever they do the decision. I think that would have been maybe quite a good way of solving this, because if there's not a clear vote and 2% difference is not clear enough in my eyes, then they just should govern together. Would have been a fucking nightmare. So not so much interesting stuff in the news today. I wish you a very nice rest of